Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Jake the Genealogist, and in today's video we're going to be going over the Sultans of the Maldives. Now, if you're not a big geography nerd, you might not have actually heard of the Maldives before, as it is one of the more obscure countries in the world. So, basically, long story short, it's actually located in Asia. Here is it on a map. It's about a little bit southwest of India, right smack dab in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it happens to be an archipelago. Here's all the islands right here. Now, besides being a very interesting country, it also has a very rich monarchical history, 815 years, in fact, going all the way from 1153 up to its abolishment in 1968. So this is going to be a bit of a longer family tree. Now, in total, there were 88 monarchs by my count, 9 of which don't actually appear in this tree. Right here, just got a little note down here, and here's the name: Hudhay, Aima, Osman the First, Naziruddin, Hassan the Second, Isa, Syed Mohammed, Sharif Ahmed, and Abu Bakr the Second. Now they are not appearing on this family tree because non-dynastical. But rest of them do appear over the 8 different dynasties in its history. Now, like my previous video on the Afghanistanian emirs, this one has it in 2 different languages, obviously English and their national language, in this case, Dhovemi. Now, please correct me on my pronunciation down in the comments, because I know I'm going to get a lot of this wrong. But let's start up here, right here, with the first dynasty, or rather the first verifiable dynasty. There was 2 dynasties before this that were partly legendary, the awesomely named Solar and Lunar dynasties, but I'm not going to include them because they're not necessarily all based in fact. But this is the first real dynasty, the Themud dynasty, right here. Now, right here, we have 2 kings before it actually became a sultanate. King Koyamala, right here, and King Dhovemi. However, in 1153, as you can tell, right in the middle of his reign, Dhovemi actually changed over to being a sultan, and that remained the title throughout their history. Now, so from Dhovemi it passed down to his nephew Muthay, down to his nephew Ali the First, and finally down to a succession of several siblings right here, down to a couple more siblings, and finally passed through Sultan Wadi here to continue the branch, down for his son Auda, to his 2 sons, Hali the Second and Yusuf the First, down to his 2 sons, Salis and Davoud, down to Sultan Omar the First, right here, and down for his children. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this lady right here, one of the few actual sultanas. That's a female sultan, to one of the few to actually rule over the Maldives, and her name is Khadijah. And she was a pretty big badass. So she ruled on 3 separate occasions, as you can tell. And all 3 times she actually stole a throne from a family member by murdering them. Firstly, her brother right here, Ahmed Shihabuddin. Secondly, her husband, Mohammed el-Jamil. And then lastly, her other husband, Abdullah the First, right here. And so she was actually one of the earliest recorded female Muslim rulers. So that's really quite cool. Probably the most interesting monarch in the Maldivian history. Now the line passed for her sister Sultana Radathati. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Through her husband Mohammed I down to her daughter Sultana Dain, to her husband Abdullah II, and that was the end of the Themud dynasty. Now it moved to another dynasty, not related, being the Hilali Dynasty right here. Its founder being Hassan the First right here. Now, the line really jumped back and forth throughout this family tree, as you can tell. It's very, very, very wide. I mean, there's a lot of distant relatives basically taking the throne and from each other. And so I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but do note that some of these monarchs, in fact, most of them actually didn't reign too long. Hardly any of them actually really had a long reign at all of more than 10 years. It's pretty hard to spot. But long story short, it finally goes to this guy right here, Hassan the Ninth. Now, around this time, the Portuguese actually came into the country. Like most places in the world, I mean, Portuguese essentially owned half the world, and Spain essentially owned half, the other half of the world. Well, this guy, Hassan the Ninth, was visited by the Portuguese, and he actually converted to Christianity, and so did his descendants who ruled. So he changed his name to Dom Manuel, and his son Dom João, and his son in turn Dom Felipe, and then his nephew Dom Luis. And but after that, they really kind of collapsed. They didn't like the fact that they were actually converting to Christianity, so they actually dropped that and converted back to Islam. The remaining monarchs. Now, the line passes through this guy, Alif the Fourth's daughter. She married Alamir Hassan Rana Bandari Kabafanu. Hope I got that right. And his brother, Kalege Ali Fakurufanu. Now, his great-grandson was the founder of the next dynasty, the Dhovemi Dynasty. This guy, Sultan Mohammed Imaduddin the First. And he had a couple wives, with whom he had some more monarchs. So his throne passed to his son, Sultan Ibrahim Iskandar I, right here, to his son Kuda Muhammad, to his first, actually second cousin, or like half second cousin or something like that. It's complicated. Sultan Muhammad Moyadeen, and the line further passage through here. So, next person of note I want to talk about is this woman right here, Maryam Kabafanu, right here. Now, she has the distinction of actually marrying 3 different monarchs, all from different dynasties. So, first she married, but actually later divorced, this guy, Sultan Muhammad Moyadeen. And then she later married this guy, Sultan Muhammad Shamsuddin I, right here, who was the sole ruler in the Hamawi dynasty, which pretty much just lasted for a year. And then she also married this guy, Mohammed IV, right here. Once again, the only monarch in the Dhovemi Dynasty. And then he married, in turn, it's a little hard to see on here, but he himself married, not another marriage of her. He married Khadijah Kabafanu Rani Kalege, right here, who happened to be the next dynasty's founder's sister. So next dynasty was the Izdoo Dynasty, right here, established by Sultan Ali V, right here, and line passed through his son, Hassan X, to his first cousin, Ibrahim Mujiruddin, right here, thus ending another short dynasty. Don't worry, they get longer. Now, the next dynasty is actually not related in any kind of way, but it is the Dia Mcgilli Dynasty right here. And it was started by Mohammed Imaduddin II right here. And he passed it to his son, who passed it to his brother, who passed it to his daughter, one of the other few sultanas here. He actually got kidnapped for a little while and put into exile, and they kind of ruled over at the same time as regents, but they are considered fully fledged monarchs. And then finally, there's actually a little break because the next dynasty actually took control, but then they took it back in 1767, and this guy, Mohammed Ghiyas-ud-Din, right here, actually took back the throne for another couple of years before it being usurped by the very same dynasty. And that dynasty is the very final dynasty on here, being the Hera Dynasty, which ruled all the way up until 1968. Now, it was founded by Hassan Izzud-Din right here, and obviously after short little break of the other dynasty ruling again. They took control again with Muhammad Shamsuddin II, passed it to his cousin Muhammad Muizuddin, passed it to his brother Hassan Nuruddin, who passed it to his son Muhammad Muinuddin the first right here, who actually passed it down to Muhammad Imaduddin the fourth right here, who's actually longest reigning in Maldivian history, ruling for around 47 years. Now, we actually get to a point where we actually have pictures of monarchs. That was one downside about making this family tree. Not very many pictures to really go by. It's a little bit more obscure, but he had two sons who were pretty important. Sultan Ibrahim Nuruddin, right here, who had two sons who ruled, Muhammad Shamsuddin III and Muhammad Imaduddin V, right here. And his brother Hassan Izzuddin ibn al-Marhum had a couple children as well, those being Muhammad Muinuddin II and Muhammad Imaduddin VI. Now, it got a little muddled right here because it actually became an official British protectorate right around this time, right after the death of Muhammad Muinuddin's son, Hassan Nuruddin. Right around the end of his reign, in 1943, it actually became a British protectorate, but there was still a technical monarchy with Sultan Abdul Majid Didi, who is the brother-in-law of this guy, actually ruling for a couple years, before then being succeeded by the very last monarch in Maldivian history, Sultan Mohammed Farid Didi, right here, who ruled all the way up until it actually became a republic with an elected president in 1968. Whew, that was a mouthful. It's quite a long history, but I think it's very underrated, and people should talk about this more, especially this complete badass Sultana Khadijah right here. And right here we just got all the color codes for the dynasties and the aforementioned maps, and that's about it. Now, before I end this video, I actually wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to another channel, another more underrated channel on here, and that is the channel Cardinal Conky. And I've been following his videos for a little while now, and he makes some really great family trees as well. He's working on this mega family tree of like Italian history. It sounds really awesome, so definitely go check out his channel and subscribe to him. And also maybe subscribe to me. That would be nice if you haven't already. And that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.